It has been our stated aspiration that we want to become one of the leading SUV specialist company globally. And SsangYong is one of the very few SUV companies in the world that specializes in SUVs. And when it became available for acquisition, it was a very natural thing for us to look at, natural fit for us in our business. In fact, I have called it as a marriage made in heaven, because the product range, the markets that they have, they serve, their price range that they're working with, it kind of creates a continuum with Mahindra and Mahindra. And therefore, it really was an ideal fit for us in terms of our aspiration and what the company can do for Mahindra and Mahindra. The biggest challenge that we faced in this specific case, more than the cultural difference between Koreans and Indians, or Korea and India, was the past history of SsangYong, where SsangYong in the past acquisitions has not done well, and there is a feeling that the previous owners perhaps did not do justice to SsangYong as a company, did not grow SsangYong the way it should have been grown. And therefore, there was a fear in SsangYong that the new owner, that is Mahindra, will be a repeat of past. So to get over that hurdle, to convince everyone in SsangYong that Mahindra and Mahindra has a very different outlook for SsangYong and what we are going to do with SsangYong, was the biggest challenge that we faced. I think we managed that quite well. There is a very good understanding in SsangYong now about Mahindra as a company, about Mahindra's objectives with SsangYong and for their own business, and that hurdle is over. The second is the working culture between Korea and India is very different. I won't say one is good or bad, but it's very different. And for us to align our way of working with the Korean way of working as in terms of their expectations, the way you deal with people, the way you deal with the business, the way you do business planning, all of these things are very, very different, and we are learning. They're also learning our culture, and I think there also we have reached some kind of an alignment. I won't say it's 100% yet. We are still working on it, but I don't see that as a major challenge. The biggest business challenge comes from the fact that SsangYong did not have a very strong product pipeline because they had not put in a lot of resources into product development. We are very conscious of the fact that we want to maintain SsangYong as an independent Korean company. And therefore, as we had announced earlier, we have not put lots of senior management people in Korea. In fact, the only CFO is the only sort of vice president level candidate person that we have put in Korea. We are letting the Korean CEO, President Lee, and most of the people who were there earlier continuing with the company, let them run the company. But in addition to that, the most important thing that we perhaps have done is set up a Synergy Council where the international operations, the product development team, the sales and marketing team are kind of meeting frequently. Now, this is something that we thought of, and the objective here was to sort of serve the twin purpose of maintaining independence of SsangYong as a Korean company and independence of Mahindra and Mahindra. At the same time, leveraging the two companies to create a win-win situation. And we thought the best way to do this was through Synergy Councils, where we have set up 3 or 4 different councils in each functional area, where we can then maximize how do we move together, move forward together. So like, for example, product development, which is perhaps the biggest synergy that we will see. There now we are looking at the product programs that we had planned for future in Mahindra and Mahindra, product programs that SsangYong had planned for future, now bringing them together to see how do we commonize these product programs so that we create on a same platform a product for Mahindra and Mahindra and a product for SsangYong. That will give us a very big benefit in terms of reducing product development cost and allowing both the companies to have a much wider range of products. And similarly, we are looking at international operations. How do we look at the current network that SsangYong has, that Mahindra has, and again benefit from each other's network. Similarly, in the sales area, we are looking at best practices to see how we can again benefit from each other's knowledge of their own market, how do we bring best practices into the other country, and so on. I would like to think that we presented to SsangYong management a very powerful proposition as to why Mahindra will be the right partner going forward for them. We made several visits, we had many meetings with the management there, explained to them what Mahindra is about and what Mahindra and SsangYong can do together. And I think we had a credible story. So we would think that that did play a role, or that did get weighed into deciding why Mahindra should be the acquirer for this company. First of all, looking at SsangYong standalone, the biggest focus right now is to increase the volume from where they were 2 years ago, which was less than 40,000, to 80,000 that happened last year, to 120,000 that we are planning this year. So that's a fairly sharp increase in volume that we are looking at, and that's happening on the strength of A, the new product Corendo C, and B, just sort of spending more and more into the brand development and the market development all around the world. So that's number one for SsangYong. Number two short-term goal that we have set up is to bring SsangYong products into India. We are currently working on 2 products, Rexton and Corendo C. And third thing is not really short-term, it's I would say medium to long-term, is the product portfolio that I talked about earlier, where we are trying to see how we combine and align the 2 product portfolios. In the medium to long-term plan, I think what we also need to look at is our overseas strategy. Where the markets are, where SsangYong is strong, where markets are, where Mahindra is strong, and how do we again leverage the strength of each other to provide a larger platform for both the product range, Mahindra and SsangYong. We are getting involved in that strategy for market development already. And one of the Synergy Councils is the International Operations Synergy Council. And right now we're looking at what we're going to do in Russia, what we're going to do in China, what we'll do in Western Europe, what we'll do in African continent. The other 4 areas that we're looking at right now together. So that's and later on we are also looking at how do we combine the power of buying in Mahindra and buying in SsangYong together becomes a lot bigger sort of pie. The SsangYong acquisition for Mahindra is one of the very strategic acquisition that we have done. The aspiration that we have of becoming a globally renowned SUV player, I think SsangYong will play a very strong role in that, both in terms of how the product development is done and in terms of how the brand is developed. And also for us, it gives us access to many markets that Mahindra brand didn't have. Korea, for example, we didn't have access to. Russia, we had never thought about. China, we had really not thought about seriously. So that really opens up a whole new game for us, and therefore I think this acquisition will make a huge difference in the future of M&M.